Good morning, guys. Happy Sunday. We are back with the Morning Brew with yours truly, Elle Dawson, and to my left or right, whatever your screen looks like, Gillian the Savage Robertson. What's up, G?
What's up? How are you doing today?
I'm not too shabby. I am not too shabby. I am still feel like I'm waking up, to be completely honest. Um, I feel like I know we didn't do a timer today, so we'll give it a few minutes before we jump into the card. Give people some time to log on and say hello, say good morning. But yeah, how's life? How's camp? You're getting close.
Yeah, we're getting close. I was gonna say camp is camp right now, you know? I'm
It's camp.
like, it's the last 2 weeks. I feel like the last little bit of a push, and then we finally get to have fun.
Yeah, I feel like the last couple of weeks, it's like that's when I would always like get sick, or it's just, or you're just in that mode where I'm dieting, everything hurts, but we're almost there. And like,
Oh,
are you at the point where you are excited to fight, or where you like, I just want to make weight?
I feel like I don't know. I've never really have, I guess, that like hate around making weight. Like it definitely sucks, but I'm like, it's part of the for me, I'm like, it's part of the process. So I'm like, I'm always just excited to fight. I'm like, the weight cut doesn't like take it away from me, I guess.
That's fair. I think it might just be the last 2 days before weigh-ins, where it's like the anxiety of making weight trumps like the excitement and the anxiety of the fight for me, where I'm just like, I forget. It's like my brain forgets that I'm fighting, and it's like, we just have to make weight.
It's like one goal in mind right now.
That's the only thing that matters. Scott Max at Best Show on YouTube. Good morning, Scott. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you guys. All right, we got a few people on, so I guess we'll just let's jump into it. UFC Mexico City. I think about a week ago we were obviously discussing the loss of Asuyama Bayev off this card, and the very short notice introduction of Lonnie Kavanagh. Last week, I said I had kind of a hot take. I think you had to hop off the show before I told Dave this, but I was riding pretty hard with Kavanagh last week. I had a feeling. I feel like Moreno, while still a phenomenal fighter, I think has just maybe lost a bit of a step. And then you put a guy like Kavanagh, who is just so sharp and so explosive and athletic, and he's only 26 years old. Like this kid, I feel like the flyweight division has so much excitement from these young guns like Joshua Van, Kavanaugh, Andre Lima, all the way to a guy well into his 30s that's making his resurgence in Kyoji Horiguchi. But it's such an exciting division right now. But I feel like Kavanagh showed so much composure for me. That's what I was so impressed with. 26 years old, couple weeks notice in Mexico City, which is a feat in and of itself with the altitude. I'm beyond impressed with Kavanagh right now.
Yeah, I'm definitely impressed with him. I feel like it's still gonna be we still need to see like how he would,
Yes.
I guess, like how he looks on a full camp with the five fives, you know? Because I'm like, we obviously had some asterisks next to this one of the 3 weeks of the being in Mexico City. So I feel like we did see a little bit of a slower pace from him in the later round. So I'm like, I still want to see how he would like when he does come in with a full camp and has to go five fives if it looks as good as his first 2 rounds did. Because I'm like, those first 2 rounds he was looking phenomenal. Just his footwork, being able to just like be in and out with his punches. He was always hitting, and then whenever Moreno was coming back, he was already gone. He was always focused on his exits, which a lot of people, I feel like, they land their punches, then they just kind of stand there. I'm like, he was always getting out of the way.
Yeah, I feel like I will address this comment, Jake, because I don't agree, but that Marab very different styles of fights, but we'll definitely address the game plan from Brandon Moreno and just the cage pressure, which I will say, I think Moreno drew the short straw this weekend. I think Almabayev would have actually been a better matchup for Brandon Moreno, even Almabayev on a full camp, personally. So we'll address that. But my thing with Kavanagh's performance last night is his ability to make Brandon Moreno miss so small, just by these teeny increments. Laura Sanko kept commenting on the range control, and I agree. I think that's almost an unteachable in MMA. There are guys that just, I think Rose is a perfect example of this. She has an innate sense of range control. That is a incredible skill. And I feel like we see that in Kavanagh as well, where it's just, he's making Moreno miss by this much so that he can immediately counter back.
Yeah. And I guess with the decision, saying with the cage pressure, the decision, I'm like, honestly, it was something that was kind of not, I guess, bugs me about MMA in general. It wasn't bugging me last night, where I'm like, how do you judge that the 4th and 5th round when Kavanagh was doing more damage, but didn't do a lot of damage in either one of those rounds? And Moreno did have the cage control, but wasn't really doing anything with the cage control for a very large portion of those rounds. And if you look at on 2 of the judges' scorecards, this is where I have the issue. I'm like, in round 4 and 5, they like one gave a 10 and then a 9 and then a 9 and then a 10. They were switching their scores. I'm like, how do you judge round 4 and 5 differently? I'm like, they were pretty much the same rounds. How are you looking at one versus the other? Like one scoring 1 for Kavanagh, scoring 1 for Moreno.
I think because in round 5, there was slightly more damage from Kavanaugh, where you saw he had a couple moments where he like Brandon Moreno looked visibly like it hurt him, whether it was the calf and he was like almost limping on it, or like maybe a little wobble, which sometimes that's just how Brandon Moreno looks. So it's hard to tell because he's got that kind of like dancey choo-choo with his hand style. But here's my argument here. This is not the same kind of cage pressure that we see from a guy like Merab, because I think the difference in the way Moreno was fighting is he was not trying to advance the position. There was maybe 1 or 2 moments where he was like, in round 5 almost. I guess you could almost say Brandon Moreno did better in round 5 because he had the deep single, right? And he almost kind of got to the back where it looked like he was at least winning a grappling exchange rather than just hanging on and trying to mitigate taking damage on the feet. But you're a grappler, you know this. Locking your hands and just kind of throwing a few half-hearted knees, like you're not trying to advance the position. You're trying to avoid taking damage in that. Like there was a lot of time, especially considering how quickly they stood up. Was it Eileen? Yeah, Eileen and Macy Chiasson.
Yeah.
Versus how long Herb let that go on the cage. I'm usually not a fan of breaking people up on the cage very quickly, but I was kind of like, okay, no, like there is no way that Brandon Moreno is trying to advance this position right now. I think it's time, Herb.
Yes, but that being said, there was no way Kavanagh was trying to advance that position either. I'm like, it's his job to get off, you know? I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, he was also just kind of content sitting there with his back against the cage, which I'm like, obviously, I do think Moreno should have done more. I think that if Moreno did more, like we said, in the later rounds, we knew Kavanaugh's coming in here with 3 weeks in Mexico City. Even if you are just pushing a little bit, you don't have to be Merab, but pushing a little bit more of that kind of pace of going from the single to the body lock, back to the single, just pushing a little bit more of a wrestling pace, Kavanagh would probably see him gas a little bit more, because I'm like, he was slowing down a little bit more. I think that they were both kind of, Moreno needed to close the distance because he was getting beat up when when it was just striking. Yes. And then Kavanagh was kind of cool with sitting there a little bit because he needed to take a deep breath.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think you hit the nail on the head. And that's what I'm saying with Brandon is we didn't see that Brandon Moreno pace and chain wrestling that we've seen in the past. Like, do you remember the Pantoja fight? The first or I guess the second Pantoja fight technically, but the scrambles were just insane. And I just didn't see that. I don't know if he was just too badly hurt or if he just doesn't have that piece of his game anymore.
It's just weird to me. I'm like, because I do agree with you. I don't feel like we've seen the Brandon Moreno we used to see. I feel like we have seen a little bit of I don't want to say a decline, but it hasn't been the same these last couple fights. But I'm like, he's still not old. He's still only 32 years old. So it's like he's still not at the point where we should be seeing like him slowing down. Like, because I feel like Kavanagh just looked like he was faster.
Much faster. Yeah, substantially. And I don't think that's unusual for Brandon Moreno. Brandon Moreno is not typically the fastest guy. He has awkward punches that come from awkward angles that catch people. Like, we've seen him. I think one thing he still does so well is the way he sprints through. He like sprints through his combinations where he's stepping big. And like Kavanagh did a good job where I love how he opens the stance. Like, he's like, oh, he's about to blitz. I'm not going to try to like move back traditionally. I'm just going to open the stance. It creates so much more distance. And it gives him the opportunity to use his kicks, which are beautiful, to counter and meet Brandon Moreno when he comes in. And you saw Brandon kind of like almost hesitate in some of those exchanges later in the fight where he was like, am I going to eat something if I do my little blitz? Which that was, to be honest, really other than the cage wrestling, that was the only place I really saw Brandon Moreno have a lot of success, was in those blitzes.
I was going to say, I feel like Kavanagh, they had very short time, but his team came in very prepared. They did a lot of studying in that short time because it seemed like, well, one, with that outside leg kick, it's something we've seen where Moreno's had issues with it in the past. So they were obviously on top of that. And even the second he goes to the corner, they're like, okay, he's going to go to the single leg again. We've been repping this. Like, they've been doing the drills and the reps and making sure that he's seen everything that Brandon has to throw at him, or everywhere Brandon is weak. That's what he's been working on for these 3 weeks. And they just look super prepared.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm very impressed with this camp. I loved the corner work. The reminder of going back to the calf, because I think we see that a lot where fighters hurt the calf early and then they don't deliver throughout the fight, which obviously training with a guy like Nathaniel Wood, there's no way you're not going to be prepared to be landing some nasty calf kicks. But even just what was it, the first 3 minutes of the fight, the bruise was massive. Like, that looked so painful to me. And Moreno is an unbelievably tough guy. So it's like, he's not somebody that you're going to see go down from nothing. Oh, as is,
Oh, yeah. No, even just the way you could see how bad it was hurting him. It wasn't going to put him down, but you could see him like him limping on it, changing stances. I think there's once in the fourth where he got it hit solid, and it was just painful to watch. I felt it through the TV.
The sound was like the crack. Ooh. But no, I will say I do feel like the early attacks on the low kick, on the calf, like that definitely contributed to us not seeing our typical Brandon Moreno, because he usually has this movement to him, right? It's this herky-jerky, awkward, but fast, and like it's hard to track him down, right? And this is the stillest I think we've ever seen Brandon Moreno. And maybe he's lost a little bit of that just with time, because he's also been fighting a lot longer. Like, he was in the UFC through the flyweight tough tournament quite early in his career. And then like he got in, he got cut, he got cut once.
No, I think he only got cut once.
Just once. He got back in, but he's been fighting for a long time. So maybe, yeah, we're seeing like age, quote unquote, but I also want to give Kavanagh credit for slowing Moreno down early with the calf.
Okay. No, I'm like, that calf kick from the first round was brutal. Like you said, the you could see the spot by the end of the first round. I'm like, it just kept on getting worse.
Yeah, no, 100%. So beautiful corner work. Loved. I'm a huge Kavanaugh fan. I have been since he first got into the UFC. I'm just so excited about this flyweight division right now. I'd love to see him fight a guy like Kyoji. I don't think he's ready for Kyoji. But I think he shares some of the same unteachables that Kyoji has, like that speed and the way he covers distance in and out and the way he counters. I think that'd be really fun to see. And honestly, could kind of make sense because obviously Tatsuro Taira is getting the next title shot against Van. So maybe we need another big fight for Kyoji to get him that title shot that we all want to see. But who knows? Maybe we see him fight for a title by the end of, I don't know if maybe not by the end of 2026. Joshua Van's an active guy though. He loves to fight, and Kyoji doesn't need a lot of time to make weight. Like, I could see them maybe both turning around. Like, we get one more win for Kyoji, you turn around. Possibly Van or Taira versus Kyoji. If they get Taira and Kyoji, they have to do that somewhere in Asia. Like,
yeah, I think they're going to avoid that one for as long as they can. I think the UFC is obviously trying to branch out into as many demographics as possible, and we have two huge Japanese stars right now. I feel like they're going to try to keep them in the top 5 without facing each other for as long as possible.
That's fair. But what a big fight to put on in Asia and to kind of steal a little bit of the Asian market, because the UFC, they haven't captured the Asian market quite yet. Like Ryzen still kind of holds them captive. One holds them captive. Like they have and those Ryzen shows are just massive. I don't know if you watched Danny Sabatello won the belt. Like those arenas are just unreal to me. Like we don't see UFC arenas like that usually, but that market is just untapped. So I can't imagine how big they could make an event with Kyoji and Taira headlining for a title fight in Japan. Like that would just be insane.
So funny to think that like it was probably like 5 to 10 years ago, there was all the talks about the flyweight division getting cut. I'm like, now it's one of the more exciting divisions.
No, it's so good right now. There's so much. There's like a changing of the guard without the old guard really even being that old yet. You know, like they're still so good. Like the older guys in the division are Brandon Moreno and Pantoja and Kai Kara. Like they're not even old. They're still world-class fighters. So it's just, there's a flyweight fight just got announced. Steve Erceg and Tim Elliott. And I think that should be quite fun.
Honestly, I was going to say, I love Tim Elliott's fights, period. I'm like, just such a unique style, but I'm like, I'll watch him fight any day.
Yeah. No, 100%. He wins fights that people think he shouldn't all the time. And Erceg is one of those guys. I feel like Erceg almost got screwed by his own success.
Yeah, got pushed a little bit too hard, too fast.
Because he's so good. But like to have a performance like he had in his debut, short notice, and immediately get ranked is sometimes a detriment. Because you have no time to develop.
No, and I think that like a Tim Elliott fight is kind of a perfect fight for him, though, where it's like he's fine. Like, I don't know, he was fighting so many top ranked guys, where now it's kind of Tim is still a very tough opponent. Pretty sure he's still ranked, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
I'm assuming between like 10 and 15, where I'm like, he's still a tough guy, but I'm like, Erceg's taken a little bit of a step down from what he was like kind of thrown into.
No, for sure. Because it was when he had a title shot, one of his first few fights in the UFC. Let me look him up. What he had, like, was it 4, 5 UFC fights? Did he even have that many? He was pretty active early. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry, those are cancellations. 1, 2, 3. 3 UFC fights and title shot against freaking Pantoja. These were the records at their fight. 12-1 versus 27-5. That's insane. Yeah, that's bonkers. But like his losses are Pantoja, Kai Kara France, and Brandon Moreno. Like those are not losses to scoff at for a 4-3 UFC record.
That's what I mean. I'm like, Tim Elliott's just a step back from those 3. Like he's been kind of thrown to the wolves a lot, where I'm like, Tim Elliott's a good matchup for him, I think. And I could obviously, I think every Tim Elliott fight could go either way. I'm like, I never want to count him out of a fight, but I feel like this is a good matchup for Erceg as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's going to be really fun. They both put a pace on. So I didn't mean to divulge too much down the flyweight rabbit hole. Kavanagh's coach, Brad Pickett, has a win over DJ. I actually think that's right. Brad Pickett is the freaking man. Were you ever at ATT at the same time as him?
Yes, but I guess on different sides of the room. Like I've never really interacted with him, but
well, he's close to Mike Brown's age. Like
yeah.
He's from a different era of MMA. Yeah. Yeah, in the WEC in 2010. Wow. He was 19-4. Demetrius Johnson was 3-0. Different era of MMA. That's insane.
So I was in high school.
It was awesome. He's awesome. He's such a funny guy. He and Mike are like BFFs. Anyway, we got to go back to UFC Mexico. I feel like most of these fights were very pickable. David Martinez looked how I would expect.
Cheeto's just never gonna win a decision, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, he just starts so slow, and it's so frustrating to watch his third rounds because I'm like, he starts picking it up, starts looking good, finding his shots, always too late in the third round. Where I'm like, he needs to figure out whatever it is mentally. We need to like talk to a sports psychologist, something, because it's obviously there that you have the capabilities. You just need to bring them out a lot sooner.
I think he's too confident in his ability to put people away or to just hurt them bad enough to win back the fight. What was that? Who did he not finish? But it was like he was like losing most of the round and then he'd have a big moment. Was it Font?
Sure.
I think he finished. But it doesn't matter. The point is he'll be losing most of the round and just put like a stamp on the round, And Martinez had the right game plan, and it's too easy to prepare for. It's like, okay, I know that I don't need to be as careful in rounds 1 and 2 as I do in round 3. So, and Martinez did that, he got the takedowns earlier. He was a little bit more aggressive with his strikes. And then round 3 came and he was like, all right, stay safe, stay safe, stay safe. Okay, let's clench. All right, stay safe. Big moment. Like just so smart, and it's like, and if the guy in round 3 knows he's up 2 rounds and you need a finish and he knows that you're going to gun for him, I feel like that's just too predictable.
He absolutely ate a head kick at the end of round 2, though.
He did. Dude, yeah, he's got a heck of a chin.
He ate that and got a takedown right after. I was like, how did that even happen, bro? Like, how are you on your feet?
There's got to be like we need to do a study on like the relationship between the thickness of guys' necks and how good their chin is, because that has to be a thing.
No, 100%. It has to just be like more stability or something, just having a strong neck.
No, 100%. But I expected him to fight like this. I feel like he's just a little more complete. I'm interested to see where David Martinez's ceiling is.
Yeah, I honestly don't see it much higher than where he's at right now. I'm like, I don't see him being a top 5 guy.
I'm interested as they like move him up. Because where is he at in the rankings now? Because Cheeto was like,
they were very similar.
Yeah, like very like kind of 10 to like 15, right?
Yeah, I think they were 12 and 13. I want to say, I could be wrong.
So he's 10 right now. Cheeto was 9, so I assume he'll move up 1 spot. It wasn't a crazy enough performance for them to like jump him over Mario Bautista that just got a big finish, But like, I think a guy like Bautista beats him.
Yeah, I think
of him. He's a little faster with his decision making, and he seems to have a more. Mario Bautista has just a great fight mind, great fight IQ, great adjustments in fight. He's good at winning fights. Like he's good at finding his little ways to win, if that makes sense. And you got Zahabi. I don't know. What about Figueiredo?
Honestly, him and Zahabi would be an interesting matchup.
I think Zahabi also is good at just winning fights. Like he dirty and beats guys that are a bit more technical than him,
I think that would still be an interesting matchup, though.
You think he beats Figgy? Figgy's not been looking like Figgy.
Yeah, and it's so weird. How old is he? Is he up there now? I'm like
32nd, I think. Let me look.
I've been thinking I was thinking Moreno was older. I just Googled Pantoja because you were talking about it. I'm like, Pantoja's only 35. Like, I'm thinking a lot of these guys are older than they are. So I'm like, is Figueiredo old or is it just fight years old? Because I'm like,
he's actually old.
I was going to say, I think he is actually old.
He's 38. Yeah, I knew he was up there.
Yeah. So I'm like, because we definitely haven't seen the same Figueiredo in the last couple of fights. He's definitely slowing down. But
But it just doesn't seem like he wants to win anymore. Like, 107 years old from doing gym. He did enough to like not get finished by Umar, you know? And honestly, Umar didn't look like he was trying to finish the fight in a lot of positions either, but he doesn't seem like he wants to win that much.
Can we talk about the opposite side of an old guy that looked great last night?
Dude, Bobby Green? That was the one when I was like, most of these fights were very pickable. That was the one that was not pickable. And man, he has these moments. Bobby Green is so...
That was his best performance I've ever seen last night. Absolutely loved every bit of it, him shooting the takedowns. Like, brought up a stat. They said the last takedown he shot was something like 5 years ago or something. I'm like, it's just absolutely beautiful game planning, beautiful finish from him. I'm like, just what a performance. I think he's 39 years old now, 38, 39.
Yeah, he's up there. He's definitely close to 40 if he's not already 40.
He's 39. Yeah.
39. Wow. He's one of those guys. He's almost like Jim Miller. I feel like they're kind of ageless. Dude almost has 30 UFC fights. Dude, Zellhuber's like the guy that could have been. I remember he came in. He debuted against Trey Ogden, and honestly, that was a good fight, but he didn't look like his best. And then he looked fantastic for like 2 or 3 fights. He had this amazing war with Francisco Prado. Like, that was like the best fight ever.
And with he had another amazing war. It was at the in the Sphere. Ribovics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He lost that one, right?
But it was still a great fight from both of them.
Close fight, too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Because he lost to Johnson last.
Yeah, Michael Johnson.
The whole black dudes coming in clutch against Hooper.
They got his number.
Bobby is one of those guys that I think is really difficult to prepare for. Like something Grant always said after his fight, like he's just, you feel like he can't hit you from where he's at because his hands are low and he covers distance so well. And that's something he hasn't lost with age, which I think is rare because I think the first 2 things to go are usually your speed and your reaction time.
I think it's also just the angle that the punches are coming from, because so many people are used to seeing them coming from up here where the punches are coming from like his waist essentially. So I'm like, it's just a different angle. People aren't used to seeing, like, used to blocking strikes coming from the waist, you know? I'm like, it's just something very unique. And I think something that's also always stuck with him is he has really good eyes, good at moving his head, good at seeing things coming towards him. Obviously, that's why he's so comfortable with his hands down, but there's the downside of it where we've seen him get knocked out because of that several times. But I'm like, he is very good at just using his head movement, where I think that is a skill that a lot of people do lack. So many people do rely on their feet for defense, where I'm like, he relies on his eyesight and his head movement.
And I think that's it. Like you said, there's pros and cons. So yes, you're in way more danger, but your ability to counter is so much higher because you're making, just like Kavanagh was doing, but he uses his feet, is that he uses his head well too, but I think primarily he's a written guy. But it's this ability to be able to counter and to be so much closer and being able to put stronger punches with your counters, you know? And like this new girl, Taryn, I don't remember how to say her name. Regina, call her Regina. She has that, she has that dog in her. She's young. Sometimes that changes with time, you know. But when you're young and you're fearless, she keeps her hands pretty low too. And the flyweight division has some juice right now. I'm interested to see where she goes and if they will take care of her because she's young, undefeated, and on short notice too. Like maybe we see her a little bit more disciplined in those later rounds in a fight where she was getting ready for a fight. So I don't think she wasn't in shape, but I don't know if she was. Do you know if she was like living in Mexico? Like, was she prepared for the altitude?
Yeah, I have no idea the stats on that. I just know they said she was getting ready for a Muay Thai fight, and it was supposed to be at 145. They said was the fight,
She
and then
looks like she was getting ready for a 145 fight.
yeah, so they fought at a catch weight of 130.
And she looks like she can make flyweight no problem. But I think she will, especially because she's young, right? How old is she?
I think she's 21. I want to say she's super young.
Yeah. She like her body's going to change a ton. We'll see if she make 125 over several years, or if she ends up going up. Which, hey, 135 could use some more exciting strikers. You know,
literally, when I was 21 to 22, that was the year I went from being a 15er to a 25er, and I was walking like 117 before my first pro fight. And then by the end of the year, I was walking closer to 140. And I'm like, that was just me like growing up. That was me like just essentially I got legs. I had stick legs growing up. I'm like, I just got a little bit more legs. I'm like, but I literally gained 20 pounds in a year. I'm like, for someone like I could easily see her being a 35er in a year, you know?
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. She's a big girl. And Ernesta is not a small flyweight either.
Yeah.
Dude,
I've actually trained with her once.
Really? Dude.
Yeah, she came and visited the school that Eileen's training at, MMA Science Academy with Roger Crawl. And I was just there visiting too, just kind of traveling around. And me and her got some sparring rounds in. It was just all striking, but literally it was exactly like how her fight was. I'm like, I feel like both of us just sat in the pocket and just went for the full like 5 minutes or whatever the round was. I'm like, neither one of us wanted to take a step back.
Does she not remind you of Marina watching her fight?
I can see that.
I don't know if it's her features or the way she's just there and she like bounces, but I was like, why does she look like, why do I feel like Marina's about to punch me in the face watching her fight?
I just feel like every one of her fights are gonna be like that. Like Ernesta's just down for a scrap.
Yeah, and I think her, especially in a division like flyweight, her job is quite safe there. Like she can win one, lose one, win one, lose one, like that for a while.
Oh yeah, just keep on giving us those. Like, pretty sure. Yeah, they did actually. They got fight of the night. So I'm like, keep on winning those fight of the nights, and you're gonna keep your job just fine.
Yeah. Well, and I gotta say, like, I think on a better card, like it was an overall good card, but there weren't a lot of like close back and forth banger fights. The only one that like, if it had gone on more than a round, that I think would have beat them might have been Douglas Silva de Andrade and Javier Reyes. But because that one round was very back and forth. But this was, I think if this fight had been on another card, it probably wouldn't have gotten fight of the night. But it was solid. It was solid. I'll give it that.
I wanted to see King Green get that performance of the night. I'm like, I thought he deserved that.
I thought he would get one. I was looking at it.
It went to Kavanagh, and the other one definitely deserved it. Imanol Rodriguez looked absolutely, got dropped early in the first, came out, well, was looking great at the beginning of the first too, then got caught, dropped, got a absolutely crazy takedown to save himself by the end of the round. Came out in the second and got another clean knockout. I'm like, he 100% deserves that. No. I'm gonna say 50K, 100K now.
No, that's that's well deserved. Then you had the kid, the guy that got the 41-second finish right at the start of. Was that right at the start of the main card?
I think that was at the start of the prelims.
No, that wasn't the one.
Oh no, it's the end of the prelims. End of the prelims you're talking about.
End of the prelims, yeah.
Yeah,
you didn't get a performance bonus either. I'm excited that that they're doing the finish bonuses though. So at least I know that every one of those people got a $25,000 bonus. And dude, Bobby's got plenty of money. Dude's getting paid so well by the UFC at this point. Like,
he just had a great night. He deserved it.
He did have a great night. I'm excited about the new bonus structure. Like $100,000 makes a heck of a lot more of a difference than 50 grand. And then to know that I think we also have seen more finishes this year. I'm just saying, like, overall, like knowing that there's a guaranteed extra 25K is good incentive to push just a smidge more to get that finish, you know?
Another person who actually really caught my attention last night was Santiago Luna. He opened up the main card. I thought he looked phenomenal. Like, just mixes up the game so well. Pacheco brought a pretty straightforward boxing game to him, but I'm like, the way that Luna was able, like, he had clean boxing, was hit like tagging the body nice with some of those shots. He had nice knees, nice kicks, was mixing in takedowns. I'm like, I feel like a pretty complete game, and I want to say he's super young too.
Yeah, I think there are quite a few young fighters on the card. Which I think that
Yeah, he's
happened.
21.
Wow. Very.
Yeah.
I feel like this is good. This happened because we used to have, this is hilarious. Jake said, predictive text is working well. It's liquid lunchtime over here. It is the Lord's Day, Jake. What are you doing? I'm just but so I feel like we've lost the era of all the really big Mexican names. We've got a handful left, which is why we were talking about this last week, why it was so important for them to save the Moreno fight. They needed Moreno on this card. I think it would have been a very, very, I don't think Martinez could have, as much of a star as I think he will be in Mexico. At this point in time, I don't know that Cheeto and Martinez could have carried a UFC Mexico City card. So I think they're in an era where they're like, crap, we have a UFC Mexico City card. We don't have enough Mexican fighters. And they have a lot of very young ones like Raul Rosas, which I was kind of surprised not to see him. To be honest, I feel like he's kind of a staple of every UFC Mexico card, I feel like there's a new generation of Mexican fighters that got some of them got very favorable matchups overall, but looked good. You know, they're beating these guys how they should, especially for the age.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, for a 21-year-old to be that well-rounded already, I'm like, Santiago Luna, I can only see him like going up from this point, being a huge Mexican star, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree. And Reyes isn't particularly old either, is he? I know he's not Mexican, but Reyes. And I love Salvador Andrade. He's like 40 and still beats guys all the time. So I always hate to see him lose. And he dropped Javier, and then
he had his moments though.
No, he's older than I thought. He's 32. I feel like
Javier Reyes with that I don't know how to describe it, his walkout.
Oh, I loved it. I usually kind of hate when people dance to the cage, but hey, the YMCA is classic, okay?
Yeah. Like, it was funny, but it was a lot.
We had a few guys get signed off Contender Series lately that are a bit older. I've noticed that. Reyes, like 32, making his UFC debut. Like, that's especially off Contender Series and not off a short notice.
No, I want to say, somebody on the commentary desk said that last night, saying UFC debut at 32 years old. I was like, that's weird. Like,
that's
it weird. Hit me.
That's Eric Silva as well, got on Contender Series just a couple years ago, and he's 38, which we've gone 38 minutes, and I haven't said a word about this, so I have to give my boy Francis his flowers. Francis Marshall's one of Grant's best friends. Like, I had no doubt in my mind that this was going to be just a great matchup for Francis overall. I actually kind of saw him knocking him out, to be honest. But what a shot. What a double leg. That was beautiful. Like, he has a great blast double.
Another person who ate that spinning head kick first thing in the round, like first second of the round, spinning head kick. Yeah, did not expect that.
No, he he was like, this guy's throwing some crazy stuff. Let's just make this easy, And as soon as he got the takedown, I knew it was over.
People hit a lot less hard when you're sitting on top of them.
True.
It's always good. So I'm like, but yeah, clean double leg, shot it hard to the fence, and I'm like, it was just light work from that point on the floor. It was just easy for him.
Yeah. No, he's been waiting to fight for ages, it seems like. So excited for Francis. Congrats, buddy. Your girl Eileen won. I know she's had a bit of a layoff. But I mean, I think she did what she needed to do to win. I saw a few, I think it was more Macy than anything. I definitely wanted your take on this. Like, maybe some grappling mistakes between both fighters, but more on the Macy side for like, she would get like some decent positions and then why is she losing them? Like I saw like she got a little too high on the back at one point. What did you see?
Obviously I'm happy to see Eileen back. I'm like, she had a shoulder surgery, so she was out for a while. I want to say like a year.
Recovery too.
Yeah. And coming back, she got that quick takedown in the first against Macy, and then Macy was able to, I guess, maneuver well enough on the ground in the first round. I think she went for a couple leg locks. Eileen turned her back, and then she was able to get the hooks in. And it's like, with somebody that long, it's hard to get them off sometimes. I'm like, so I feel like Eileen just kind of rode out the first round, obviously kind of gave that one up. And the next two, I'm like, what I'm so shocked at Macy, I'm like, her takedown defense is so bad. I'm like, those takedowns just look like effortless for Eileen. And like, I'm not to take anything away from Eileen, she's doing everything right, but I'm like, it just looked like Macy was like, especially with the throws, Macy was just flying.
Zero awareness of like, especially when you're so tall, like I feel like it shouldn't be that easy to throw you. Like, get your hips in, you have the length, but she's a lion.
No, that was the most like surprising part of it all to me. I'm like, how easy it was to take her down. I'm like, it just looked effortless. And there probably was more opportunity where Eileen could have done more damage on the ground, opened up a little bit more, gotten a little bit better positions. But I think it was a good overall fight for her.
Especially coming back off such a like intense injury. Like, shoulder injuries are brutal. I've seen people recover from them. It takes a long time. I feel like, she came in and did what she needed to win. There were no doubts in my mind that she would struggle to get Macy down. I think she's historically struggled with that. But it seemed like a great matchup for Eileen.
But on that ref, I'm like, he could have taken the fight away from her. I'm like, that dude had me scared. Standing her up after like 2 seconds on the ground in the second, after she worked so hard for a takedown, I'm like, that really has a potential to lose you a whole round if she wasn't able to get Macy back down again, or like, I don't know. That's just such a huge move. I'm like, you could have lost her the fight because of that move.
Yeah. No, I agree. I was, especially compared, like when we were talking earlier, compared to the main event, I was like, there is so much inconsistency here, which I don't think Herb did the wrong thing. It's just, in the main event, it's just the inconsistency of earlier in the night. Like, I was like, maybe we need to have like a stopwatch rule. It's like, okay, there needs to be at least 10 seconds without action, or 30 seconds, whatever it is. Like, there needs to be guidelines for these refs, because that was a huge discrepancy between how quickly they stood her up and how long it took to break up Moreno and Kavanaugh.
And the first ref was definitely a commission ref. He wasn't a UFC ref. So I'm just assuming maybe he's more of a boxing guy. Like, sometimes I feel like if you're not as knowledgeable in jiu-jitsu, you might not know when somebody is working or whether they're just sitting, like Eileen was.
She was like, she's trying to pass. She was doing some damage. Like, I didn't think she was stalling at any point.
Yeah, she was working the whole time. So I'm like, I like, that's where I'm like, I feel like sometimes it takes the right. Refs should be trained better in the sport, is one thing.
No, I agree. Jimmy says cartel refs. No, I was pretty shocked by that, but I thought Eileen looked really good. I'm excited for her to be back. I think that division needs fun fighters.
Needs excitement.
This wasn't her most fun fight, but I know she came off an injury. I think she'll be back to her finishing ways soon. So hopefully, have you talked to her? Does she want to get back in quickly?
I haven't talked to her since. I'm like, I went to bed pretty early. Just posted the Instagram and then went to bed. So I haven't talked to her yet, but I'm assuming she's trying to get back there, especially with such a long layoff.
Yeah, no, definitely. She was just fairly active beforehand, I feel like, before she got hurt.
Yeah. She's usually on the same page as me. I'd say like twice a year, 3 times a year. So we're staying active enough, but not like super active.
No, we're not being Kevin Holland here, but
yeah,
we're moving. I think, I don't know if there's anything we kind of highlighted. There were some fun finishes. We kind of highlighted most of the card, I feel like. I don't think there was anything else that jumped out to me. There definitely was some some drama this weekend at RAF with Arman Tsarukyan punching people and his entire team punching that guy. How many times did the guy get hit?
I think it was like 3 versus like 10. It was rough.
It was rough. I'm still trying to I think G and I are still investigating exactly what happened. I guess there was some bad blood. So did you see Pat Downey's tweet?
I have not seen that, no.
Apparently Arman was not the only person that felt like Giorgio was being disrespectful. So I'm still trying to figure out what all Giorgio did to piss off Arman so much, which, let's be real, it usually doesn't take that much to piss off Arman. But let's see. Pat said something before, I think it was before or maybe early in the match. He tweeted, Jake Sisters Arman need therapy. He tweeted Giorgio's being so disrespectful, and he's like, Arman was all class. This was a very funny digression on Twitter, but he was saying calling essentially Giorgio's these influencer wrestlers, which he is. I think he was a good but average college wrestler that got famous on Instagram.
Yeah.
He wasn't at the level that a lot of these are of wrestling that a lot of these RAF guys are. Obviously Kyle Dake is headlining these cards. There is elite wrestling on these cards. So I think Pat Downey kind of was saying that, and then he was just at the end, he's like, never mind. But I'm still trying to figure out everything that led up to this moment. Because Gillian, she sent me off air a clip of because I haven't seen the match in full yet. I've just seen the end, and I've seen highlights of them just slapping each other. Which Giorgio's did look a little bit more like a club. Maybe still, some of them were fists to the back of Arman's head. They were a little excessive, but they were not as blatant as Arman just full palm slapping Giorgio across the face. So I'm still in the middle of my investigation, but I think at this point Arman might be I think you might be right. I think he might be a little bit of a liability.
Yeah, I'm I think that he's just we talked about it. I'm with the Dan Hooker headbutt and this. I'm just a little bit on edge, he's maybe Arman does need therapy,
I'm just trying to figure out at what point will these people all figure out that Arman is just not the guy. He will retaliate. Bobby Green was kind of talking a bunch of smack to him and big dogging him, and then when Arman was like, I will kill you, Bobby's like, no, my bad, man, I was just messing around. He was down to throw down in a hallway with Bobby Green. He headbutted Dan Hooker, which I'm still trying to figure out. I don't think Hooker talked more trash than usual. I feel it was a very average Hooker lead up. I could be mistaken. I'm not on Twitter as much as everybody else is, so there may have been more said, but I feel he's not the guy. He is the guy that will punch you in the face, which he should. I'm not saying we should bend over for Arman Tsarukyan. It's not acceptable behavior, but
he's just a little sensitive. A little sensitive,
Giorgio looked like he was wobbly after. He got hit a lot.
Yeah, I'm I feel at some point it is going to catch up to him if he keeps on oh, we were also talking about this off air. I'm Dana claims that's why he didn't get the title shot is because of the back injury, weight miss, whatever you want to call it, and because of the Dan Hooker thing. It's you can't rely on him to show up to the fight. What if he broke Dan's nose when he did that? There's so many, like I said, he's a liability to himself at this point.
No, I think Dana that may be true. So my question is, if Arman's done all this stuff, people have been cut for at least what we think is a lot less. What on earth did Muhammad Mokaev do to face off the UFC as badly as he did?
That's what I kind of get flashbacks of, is seeing Arman do this stuff. I think of Mokaev, and I'm he was kind of, doing this stuff behind the UFC scenes until they're all right, we can't handle this anymore. We're done with this guy. We don't care that he's undefeated. Yeah.
So it's I I don't know if anything's going to come of this. Nothing really came of the headbutt, right? Was he fined or anything?
I don't know. I'm assuming he might have been. I don't know. I have no idea, but I would assume that they would.
Like, you remember when Sean Strickland like threw a flip flop at a guy and like got suspended from competing for like a year? Like,
he ran in a cage after a fight and yelled at a guy, and like I don't even think I think he might have hit him once, and yeah, he was suspended for like a year. But like after the guy was antagonizing Sean Strickland, like
for an entire fight. Which like, I understand people are antagonizing Arman, but like his retaliations are so extreme. Like, are they gonna do something about it? Or is it just I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, we asked, was it the guy? Yeah. So the guy Arman wrestled was the guy from Instagram. He does like a take me down for $100 or whatever. I can't remember what it is. Somebody said, wasn't Mikhaev that with UFC staff? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I heard that the only thing I heard definitively about Mikhaev was the altercations with cop at the PI. So I have no. I'm like, what was happening behind closed doors that got this guy cut? Because it seems like some guys can do a lot worse publicly. So we'll see. I don't know, but hopefully Giorgio doesn't have too bad of a concussion, and hopefully Arman can figure out what's going on. Because he's a great fighter. Like, and the sad thing is I want to see him get a title shot. Like, not for him, but like because I want to see Ilya face a guy like that.
Yeah, like he's actually all these guys that are so good. Like I'm just thinking about like John Jones and things like that. I'm like, it's like they're their own worst enemy. Arman, I'm like, he's like hurting his own career doing this stuff. Like, dude, just get your life together and just focus on the fight, and you would have probably already had that title.
Yeah. No, I think he's a guy who could possibly beat Ilya, and I want to know what happens, and I hope we still get to see it, you know?
No, I agree with you 100%.
For the fans. For the fans, Dana. Like, you can do whatever after, but just let's see what happens. But anyway, okay. I feel like this became more of a gossip session than an analysis moment. But overall, let's jump back to Mexico City. Let's just give it a nice letter grade. What was this card for you? A through F?
I would say maybe like a B minus. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great.
Yeah, I would say around the same. Maybe C plus, B minus. I feel like it delivered. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and like I enjoyed most of the fights. I feel like it was entertaining enough. There was a couple lulls, but like for the most part, it was a good night.
Yeah. No, I agree. I enjoyed it. It was fun. Cool. And we still almost went an hour, but we did okay. G has stuff to do today. So Jake said good entertainment for the casual fans. Yeah, but I feel like the casual fans don't tune into these cards because there's not enough name value, which is unfortunate because it was a good card. But maybe everything being on Paramount will help with that. They'll get some eyes on the smaller the fight nights. But anyway, let's see what's coming up this weekend. Anything? Is that next week? Oh yeah, March 7th. Holy crap, that came quick. It's UFC 326.
I was gonna say I didn't. We're saying like, oh, what's next this weekend? Oh, only Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira. It's a huge fight.
Have you seen all the stats? It's like who's the baddest, and then it's like, and they're pretty close on everything except for like submission attempts and significant strikes. Max Holloway's career significant strikes are like well over 3,000. It's just what? What? Who does that? Have you seen like they did like a plot graph of everybody that signed to the UFC and their significant strikes, and like everybody's kind of like in the middle, and then there's like Max Holloway's way here.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's crazy. Hey, we won't spend too much time, but I'm obviously bummed that we don't get Moicano and Brian Ortega on this card anymore. But now we get the most bizarre main event of the year, Moicano versus Chris Duncan, which should be a freaking banger. But yeah, this is a solid card. Oh, there's Raul Rosas. That's right. He's on this week. Yeah. He belongs. He can carry a number, help carry a number card for sure at this point. Cody Garbrandt. Cody Durden is fighting that 9-1 guy. That's a fun fight. Whose name I literally cannot pronounce. I'm usually solid at that, but it's like, it's just so many letters. Cody Durden's fighting that guy. Bellato's on the card. Oh, I like him. Yeah, anyway, I gotta let G go, guys, but it's a freaking good card. So this weekend we get to watch Max and Charles fight. It's gonna be a blast. We love you guys. Do you have anything to say to the people, G?
Nope. I will probably see you guys in 2 weeks because I'm assuming I'm not doing next week. So
fair enough. So everybody say bye to G. Good luck. We will see you guys on Tuesday if you join us. Bye.